Hello, my name is Brittany, and I'm here to present what love actually is. So, many of you guys know what love is, but the actual dictionary definition is love that is passionate, tender for another person. So, now that we know the dictionary definition, who has ever felt like they were in love or is currently in love? And have you ever wondered why you feel this way for another person? Well, I'm here to tell you. With this incorporated science, I will be close examining why we fall in love.
As you saw in the photos, that was my boyfriend Nicholas and I. A year ago, I fell in love with this man and I immediately connected with him the first day we met. But why? Well, you are about to find out. Although it sounds like the main focus is our heart, it is not. It is our brain, specifically the neurotransmitters that occur in your brain. Since the brain is the main focus, it is good to know about it. The brain weighs about 3 pounds and consists of 4 different lobes. The lobes are parietal, frontal, occipital, and temporal. The frontal lobe is located in the front and focuses on reasoning, problem solving, speech, planning, movement, and emotions. Because love is an emotion, we will be taking a closer look into the frontal lobe to discover the neurotransmitters and the chemical changes that occur within this lobe. Because we know that the brain causes us to fall in love, you need to know what a neuroscientist is. A neuroscientist is a person who studies the nervous system. Given this information, why would this be important? Well, neuroscientists have found the reason for why we love through multiple testing, and the results that came back gave an explanation for the chemical responses we obtain when in the process of love. Psychologists also play an important role. A York psychologist by the name of Arthur Aron conducted a study focusing on the reasons on why we love. During the experiment, he asked subjects, strangers, to spend half an hour discussing intimate details about their lives. Next, Aron asked the participants to stare into that person's eyes without talking. This makes up for an awkward situation, right? Wrong. The subjects actually reported that they felt a strong attraction, and some actually fell deeply in love with the other person. The test concluded that we fall in love with 55% through body language, 38% via the tone and speed of the other person's voice, and only 7% through what the other person says. And now back to the brain. The brain consists of having neurotransmitters, the thing I mentioned earlier. Neurotransmitters are powerful chemicals that regulate numerous physical and emotional processes. The frontal lobe does all the work through this process, including controlling emotions and personality. The brain contains nerve cells that have 1,000 synaptic connectors. A set of receptors that goes to the brain has to go through yet another process. The receptors then goes through an axon and continues through the synaptic terminal. In this case, the reaction would be emotional and a physical response to love. As much as there is a process to the chemical response, there is a process for love as well. There are 3 known stages to love that create a successful relationship. The stages will sometimes leave a relationship with a compatible bond as the end result, but not always. Lust plays a big role throughout our love lives because lust gives us the desire to be with one another. Attraction happens to be the next step. In this stage, the phrase, "love is blind," is in effect. You begin to disregard any flaws that your partner has and begin to think about them all the time. At this point in time, couples are trying to get to know each other. If the attraction is strong for both individuals, then the step continues to attachment. Attachment is also called the commitment stage. This is when couples disregard the fantasy love from the movies and continue to real love phase.
Often we'll idolize our partner, but according to psychologists, idolization keeps people together and keeps them happier during marriage. Now to a touchy subject, intimacy. Intimacy is key to a successful relationship because it shares a connection between two partners, but there is also an extraordinary experience that occurs in the brain.
We are initially driven by the sex hormones that are raging inside the body when there is a physical attraction. The main focus is the following neurotransmitters: adrenaline, dopamine, serotonin, oxytocin, and vasopressin.
Once you are in the stage of attractiveness, you inherit 3 neurotransmitters: adrenaline, dopamine, and serotonin. During the process of producing adrenaline, the body will sweat and the heart will race. When dopamine is processed, it also influences desire. When there is a release of dopamine, you feel a rush in pleasure. You then receive serotonin. Serotonin is the most important since it explains why you fall in love, because your newfound lover will always be in your thoughts because of these neurotransmitters. Through the attachment phase, the neurotransmitters created are oxytocin and vasopressin. Oxytocin, also called the cuddle hormone, is a hormone that is released during an orgasm. This will make the bond strong and make couples feel closer to one another after having sex. Lastly, your body will create vasopressin. Vasopressin, also known as the antidiuretic, is a secretion that is released once intercourse is over. As you can see, your brain undergoes quite a lot in the process of love. Although it may be difficult to find love, it really isn't. I mean, all you have to do is find a stranger, share intimate details for 30 minutes, and then stare deeply in their eyes. Easy, right? So now that you guys know that the neurotransmitters are relevant to the way we feel, act, and fall in love, you can now take this information and put it into good use. For all you know, you may find your match, just like I did. And remember to follow your heart, but mostly your brain.